Today we will discuss the cancer cell. First of all, I just want to mention some small points which are co-associated with this chapter, cancer cells. First of all, we will discuss why this topic are associated with principle of cell and development biology. If we talk about the cell and development biology itself is a wide branch in which we are able to study the different phases and different parts of the system in which the cells is able to divide, and then it will mature, and finally it will replicate itself. Likewise, if you are talking about the prokaryotes and eukaryotes, it differentiate different pattern. In bacterial cells, the multiplication are the different thing, and in eukaryotic cells the multiplication is different thing. Today we will talk about the cancer cells. What first of all, itself is a very diverse word, and at present you can see the lot of patient of the cancer. What are the cancer? What is the definition of the cancer? What are the causes of the cancer, types of the cancer, and of course what are the symptoms of the cancer cells. First of all, we will initiate the word, simply word tumor. If you see immediately, this is very diverse word. If you talk about the tumor, all tumors are not the cancers. It is a part of the symptom. It occurs previously. First of all, the tumor will occur, and then it differentiates the two phases, benign phase and the malignant phase, because it comes to the benign phase, because all tumors are not the harmful. If you are talking about the normal cell and the cancer cell, what are the cancer cells? Because cells divide and multiply as the body needs. When these cells continuing multiplying, when the body does not need them, and the result is a mass of the growth, that means abnormal growth of the cell causes the cancer. If we talk about the reason behind it, how a single cell becomes a cancer, it may be different reasons. If you see a whole proportions, there are a lot of proportions that may be due to the genetical causes, ultraviolet rays, due to some chemicals like was the pollution, exhausts. In fact, a lot of cancer, there is a more than 100 types of the cancer at present we are able to investigate, because these growths are considered as either the benign or the malignant. Because malignant is the dangerous stages, and we are talking about the benign stage. Benign stage is not the dangerous. If you see the background, because this is always debatable things, so what are the malignant versus benign tumors. Cancer is one of the most common disease in the world, and 1 in 4 deaths are due to the cancer. If you see, or if you highlight the overall average ratio of the cancer, lungs cancer and the breast cancer at the present day, these two types cancer occurs widely in our the body cells, lungs cancer and the cancer cells. Because breast cancer is also part of the most common cancer in the woman today. There is some term, what is the neoplasm, benign and malignant. As I told earlier, that is benign stage, if tumor appears in the benign stage, that is not compulsory it will be harmful to the cells. If the cells becomes malignant, that means definitely a cell have become cancer cells. What is the difference between the normal cell and the cancer cell? And before the starting of the difference, the one most important thing we have to understand that what is the main characteristics of the cancer cells, because they have the main characteristic cells. If the cell is cancer cells, they have abnormal nuclei and they forms tumors, and mitosis controlled by the contact with neighboring cells by contact inhibition, and all cancer cells have lost contact inhibition. The most significant thing that all cancer cells have lost contact inhibition and they lack differentiation. And what are the difference between the cancer cell and the normal cell? The first most significant cancer cells and the normal cell are that cancer cells have always non-differentiated cells, and while cancer cells have, normal cells have the differentiated cells. In cancer cells, abnormal nuclei found, and in normal cells, normal nuclei found. That means all process will be the normal, the mitosis, meiosis. Likewise, a cell behave like the normal cell. In cancer cells, there is no contact inhibition found, and in normal cells, contact inhibition occurs. In cancer cells, disorganized, multilayered cells occurs. That means there, if a normal cells becomes cancer, that means all the systems are disturbed. Whether you are talking about the mitosis, meiosis, and always a cells like behave with the abnormal cells. Cancer cells undergo metastasis and angiogenesis, while normal cells have the one organized layer cells. Because this is the very important part when you talk about the stages of the cancer, because this plays significant role in spreading these cancer cells to our body cells. Number one stage, cancers are localized to one part of the body. In stages that cancer are curable, because almost if you see there is some there are the three stages basically, the first stage, second stage, and the last stage. And last stage is also called the chronic stage. That means all cells have become malignant. There is no chances for saving. Next, cancer cells are locally advanced. Next, cancers are also locally advanced. Cancers have often metastasized or spread to other organs or throughout the body. And what are the causes of the cancer? Because if you see, the causes is also the important part of the cancer. Because this is the genesis. What are the genesis? What are the reason behind a normal cells become a cancer? What are the main causes? Actually, a lot of causes occurs for spreading the cancer cells. Cancer arises from the mutations. As I told you earlier also, that means there is a lot of reasons. If you see on the proportion basis, a lot of reasons are there due to normal cells becomes the cancer cells. Cancer arises from the mutations of the normal gene, that may be the one cause, and except this cause, the one another reasons may be that a factor which brings about a mutation, that is called the mutagen, because these are the interrelated term, mutagens and mutations. Those element which is responsible for the mutation is called the mutagen. It is thought that several mutations need to occur to give rise to cancer cells, and these mutated genes causes cancer. And this process is called carcinogenesis. Cancerous cells don't self-destruct, it just continue to divide rapidly, producing millions of the new cancer cells. And what are the carcinogens? Because there is a lot of variety of carcinogens, there is a lot of chemicals and different reasons due to which a normal cells become cancer. They are categorized actually. If you categorize them, so first category are the ionization radiations, in which X-rays, ultraviolet rays comes through. If you are talking about the chemicals, there is a lot of chemicals which are responsible for a normal cell to be cancer cells, like chemicals like tar from the cigarettes, and of course virus infection is also another reason to becoming a normal cells into the cancer cells. For instance, there is a papilloma virus be responsible for the cervical cancer. And if you see, the hereditary predisposition also is the major causes of the cancer. If you say some common causes like bloodstream lymphomas, some of the common carcinomas, fat, bone, muscles, colon, bladder, prostate, and you see the brain cancer, liver cancer, breast cancer, teeth cancer, eyes cancer, mouth cancer, the tissue cancer, and instead of that a lot of cancer occurs in the body cells. While in also you can see there are a lot of instances in plant cells also that are responsible for the cause of cancer. If you see the total factors believed to contribute to global causes of cancer, there is a limited proportions in which there is a limited proportion in which there is a, I think 30% are there smoking and alcohol use, and there are the some ratio, that means 1,72,000 deaths are due to the smoking. This is amazing data. You can note down that 1,72,000 deaths are due to smoking and 19,000 deaths are due to the alcohol, and ultimately they cause cancer. There is a lot of consumptions of the alcohol causes liver cancer. First of all, it will occur in the form of hepatitis B, and then different types of the hepatic disease it occurs, and finally it ruptures the liver cells. And other than, there is a lot of proportion, if you talk about the average, there's the 30 to 35% are due to the unbalanced diet, because what we are having daily life in form of breakfast, dinner and the lunch, there is another factor, that means how much capacity and what are the proportions of the micronutrients we are getting daily, in which more than 30 to 35% reasons are due to the unbalanced diet. And you can note down, there is a tremendous data, that means 1/3 of all cancer deaths due to the too many high glycemic carbohydrates. And obesity is another one reason of the cancer, because at present scenario of the living style, obesity is the main reason. You can see the lot of instances in your daily life, in your home, your relatives, and obesity is another part of the cancer cells. And basically, if you talk about the hormonal irregulation, there is another cause of hormonal irregulation of the in humans. I think it makes 18 to 20% proportions makes the hormone irregulation are due to the cancer. There may be a different factors, and at present, at the living standard of the women and girls, you can see a lot of chances of cancer cells. And except these proportions, there are some more proportion. I think the 18 to 20% are chronic infections. These proportion also plays a significant role for the cancer cells. There are a lot of deaths occurs mostly in poor countries due to hepatitis B virus, human papilloma virus, HIV, human T cells, leukemia, lymphia, and other reasons are the cause of cancer. If you see the epidemiology and all molecular profiles of these cancer cells, because our body is itself is a doctor, there is a defense system always occurs inside the body cells, in which they always fight against any infections which occurs as a foreign antigen in the body. So there is I have some clips you can see by means of another mode, by means of either I will upload in the wallet. You can see a lot of figures and lot of displays I have mentioned. And one more thing, if you talk about the cancer treatments, because chemotherapy treatments is the another option if for curing a cancer patient, because these uses medicine to weaken and destroy cancer cells in the body, including cells at the original cancer sites and any cancer cells that may have spread to another part of the body. That is plays also the part. Chemo is a systemic therapy, which means it affects the whole body by going into the blood streams. In some cases, chemotherapy is given before surgery to shrink the cancer. And again, alternate, that is radiation therapy. This is also called the radiotherapy. Like surgery, radiation therapy is a local treatment after the cancer cells only in the treated area. And radiation can all form a machine external radiation. Radiation therapy can also come and implement of a radioactive element placed directly into the near the tumors. Actually, if you talk about the chemotherapy and radiotherapy, if you see, it always occurs in the side effects to our neighboring cells. Suppose one specific portion of any tissue is suffering from any cancer cells, if these therapies apply directly to the cells, it will spread all over the neighboring cells, which affect directly or indirectly to the other neighboring cells. At present scenario of the biotechnology, there is a lot of findings which always the working is going on particularly in this area. There is some alternate options in like the nanobiotechnology, the latest techniques in which it has become a tremendous alternate to overcome of these types of the diseases. If we can avoid these chemotherapy and radiotherapy to overcome this disease by the using of nanobiotechnology, there is a lot of techniques and there is a lot of treatment, there is a lot of protocols in which nanocapsules are inserted inside the body cells, and then by means of other process they can recover from the cancer cells. And what basically the most significant thing, the cancer preventions, because it is natural slogan that precaution is better than the cure. If one person's cure directly, firstly, at least everything is under our hands. At least we can save our life by implementing some small things in our daily life. What we can do? We can change our lifestyle. We can change our scenario, our lifestyle program. At least we can avoid more than 30 or 40% of the chances to infect these cancer cells in the body. Because the most important thing, your healthy lifestyle, because your healthy lifestyle most of the important part. Exercise and proper breathing, balanced diet, complete rest and the sleep, water, regular water consumption, I think 8 to 10 glasses daily, eating fruits in empty stomach, and other things. We can, if we implement these things in our daily life, I think there is a absolute reduction of the more than 30 to 35% to not occurring cancer cells in our body. And then the phases of the cancer, because it always, these the phases depends upon the types of the infection. How much portion of the infection occurs inside the body? What are the stages? If cancer cells become chronical in the cells, then the treatment is the different. If these cancer cells occur in the first stage, second stage, then treatment is the different. So it depends upon the different phases, how much portion of the cancer cells spread all over the body. And there's some questions associated with these types of the cancer: screening, testing, treatment commonly done in the women's cancer, role of food in fighting cancer, write your personal goals of a healthy lifestyle, how and you will apply it, and add 3-4 references aside from the one given on the top. Thanks.